In the week, against the background of the Me Too and Church Too protests on recent allegations of rape, I spoke to a legal practitioner and the Lagos State coordinator of the Domestic and Sexual Violence Response Team, Vivour-Adeniyi. I asked her to shed light on what the laws say about rape. Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start with what our laws say about rape.
In Nigeria, we have the criminal code. The criminal code is it's the enactment that regulates all issues concerning criminal conduct and criminal behavior. Because this administration of criminal justice is on the concurrent list, some states have gone ahead to enact laws that reflect their own present realities. So for us in Lagos State, in 2011, we enacted the criminal law of Lagos State, and that law has recently been amended in 2015. There's a particular chapter in the criminal law of Lagos State devoted to sexual offences, and that chapter is chapter 25. Then we have section 260 that defines what rape is. Rape is having unlawful sexual intercourse between a woman or a girl without the person's consent, and the punishment prescribed is life imprisonment. Then we have attempted rape, and then we have sexual assault by penetration. And sexual assault by penetration as well is life imprisonment. What Lagos State has done is to differentiate or distinguish between the offense of defilement and rape. The major difference is for defilement, it's having unlawful sexual intercourse with a person below the age of 18. And of course, when it's regarding or relating to children, issue of consent does not arise because the law assumes that the child cannot give consent. And defilement is also life imprisonment. So for rape, life imprisonment; sexual assault by penetration, life imprisonment; defilement of children, life imprisonment.
So I heard some people talk about a statute of limitation, that after a certain period of time, you can't bring an action for rape anymore. What does our law say about the statute of limitation?
Under the criminal code, we have a statute of limitation requirement for rape. So the idea is, if you allege that you've been sexually abused, the victim or the victim was required to bring an action within 3 months of the alleged incident. And if the victim fails to bring an action within 3 months, then it becomes statute barred. That was under the criminal code. But in Lagos State, when we're amending the law, that section was expunged from our law. And so now the issue of statute of limitation does not arise. That is taken into context as the fact that the alleged offense happened after 2011, because of course laws cannot be retrospective exactly. So moving forward, if an incident happens after 2011 and the person decides to bring the action in 2019, as far as there's enough evidence, the case will still be investigated.
The general belief is that rape is difficult to prove. Why is this so?
You know, rape is not a tea party where you say, come and be raped. It's always, most times, the case of he said, she said. And so we need corroboration. I'll give you some instances of what can amount to corroboration. Medical report. If a person presents his or herself within 72 hours, it's possible that the alleged abuser's DNA may still be able to be taken from the client or the survivor. There's also, we cannot overemphasize the importance of investigation by the police. Sometimes the police is the first port of call. If police does the needful in investigating, in putting the person at the scene of the crime, in investigating alibis, in ensuring that their file is watertight, by the time it gets to the prosecution angle, it will not be difficult for us to prosecute and sustain or obtain a conviction. So we need medical evidence. We need the evidence of the client, the survivor, written statements. We need thorough investigation from the police. And where if the client presents his or herself within 72 hours, we may be able to get some DNA. So but once we get all of this, we'll have corroboration. We have corroborative evidence to give credence to the testimony of the survivor.
What protection, if any, is there in place for victims of rape or sexual offences?
There are different organizations that render render services. It can be medical, it can be psychosocial. Sometimes government takes these people into protective custody if we feel that they are being threatened. So there is help there are support services, either governmental organizations like the Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Response Team, non-governmental organizations doing amazing work at the community level. There are even some religious institutions that provide shelter for survivors of sexual abuse. The most important thing is to speak up and speak out, get help, and ensure that you get your power back. The greatest power a survivor gives his or her assailant is silence. Once you start speaking up, you slowly start to retrieve your power back.